Don't believe a word they say.
Get out! All of you, get out! You'll be trapped if you stay here!
Over here! There's a secret way out! You'll be burned alive if you try the camp entrance!
A secret way that we never knew about?
And thanks StarClan for that! You were enough trouble as kids and apprentices! Bring him first. Follow my voice, you can do it! It's not a difficult climb.
We'll come behind you and catch you if you fall!
I'm not a kit! Mouse tongue!
Well done. Quickly, away from the edge! The rock is crumbling!
It's okay, just a bit further, then you can rest.
You can lean on my shoulder if it'll help.
Look, mouse brain! What's happening? Which way should we go?
We can't go anywhere. We're trapped. Squirrelflight? Are you there? Help us!
I'm here! I'm going to push a branch towards you and break through the flames. You can run along it to escape it before it catches fire. I can't do it! Ashfur! Ashfur! Help me! Please, my kids, they're trapped! Help me push this branch! There! Hurry, you three! It won't be hard, just find the branch and run straight across. I'm here. I won't leave! Ashfur? Ashfur, get out of the way! Let them through!
Brambleclaw isn't here to look after them now.
What in StarClan? What have you done with my father?
Oh, why would I waste my time with him?
Ashfur! Your quarrel with Brambleclaw has got to stop! Too many moons have passed. You have to accept the fact that I'm Brambleclaw's mate. Not yours. You can't keep trying to punish Brambleclaw for something that was always meant to be!
I have no quarrel with Brambleclaw. I couldn't care less about that piece of fox dung. It's not his fault he fell for a faithless she-cat. You think I've never forgiven Brambleclaw for stealing you from me? Oh, but you're wrong. And so is every cat that thinks so. My quarrel is with you, Squirrelflight. It always has been.
All of this was moons ago. Ashfur, I had no idea you were still upset.
Upset? I'm not upset! You have no idea how much pain I'm in. It's like being cut open every day and bleeding onto the stones. I just can't understand how any of you failed to see the blood.
Ashfur,
You stay right there! I can't believe you didn't know how much you hurt me. You're the blind one here, not Jayfeather. Who do you think sent Firestar the message to go down to the lake where the fox track was? I wanted him to die. All 9 lives. I wanted to take your father away so you'd know the real meaning of pain.
He tried to kill Firestar? He's gone mad!
I'm going to fight him.
No, you can't. He'll just push you into the fire.
Brambleclaw saved Firestar then. But he's not here now. He's not here. But your kits are.
enough, Ashfur. Your quarrel is with me, These young cats have done nothing to hurt you. Do what you like to me, but let them out of the fire!
You don't understand. This is the only way to make you feel the same pain that you caused me. You tore my heart out when you chose Brambleclaw over me. Anything I did to you would never hurt as much. But your kids, if you watch your kids die, then, and only then, you'll know the pain I felt.
Kill them then.
We're okay. ThunderClan is okay. The full moon pierced the night sky. I felt the pads of my paws hit the gravel of the shore one at a time. My head was held high. This is my clan to protect. Well, will be. Looking forward, our current leader, Firestar, was leading the whole clan to an important meeting, the Gathering. A once-per-moon event where all 4 clans meet to share news, gossip, and tell stories of old times. Firestar led ThunderClan with strength, not just on the battlefield. His decision-making, conviction, and loyalty has saved us from tragedy more than once. I can only hope to lead the clan half as well as he has. When Firestar loses his last life, I don't like thinking about what could have happened.
Brambleclaw! You're doing it again, mouse brain.
I was ripped from my thoughts by the cat I cared about most, my mate. While we've had our rough patches, I couldn't imagine ever leading this clan without her. Squirrelflight, What?
You're staring off into the forest again? StarClan knows what goes through that fluffy head of yours when you do.
Squirrelflight is an easygoing, bright she-cat, the headstrong mother of our 3 kits, Hollyleaf, Lionblaze, and Jayfeather. They've all grown up to be such fine members of the clan, and I couldn't be prouder. I just hope Squirrelflight feels the same. Squirrelflight then gave an audible sigh. There was something on her mind. Should I prod? I know she's strong, much like her father. To handle it on her own, I should make sure nothing's wrong. Squirrelflight, what's on your mind?
Oh, sorry, I'm just... Something isn't right about tonight. You know?
I'd be lying if I didn't agree with her. There was this stillness in the air that I couldn't explain. It feels whole. But ThunderClan is fine. Nothing has happened. I turned my head around to the rest of the clan as they padded behind us. I wanted to see if their faces betrayed the same feeling. Leafpool, Squirrelflight's sister, was talking hurriedly to Jayfeather, his blind stare almost chilling as it pierced forward. Thornclaw was boasting to Brackenfur about a previous battle. We've all heard that same story multiple times, but Brackenfur was being a good sport about it. Brightheart and Cloudtail were walking together, tails intertwined as they discussed quietly. Graystripe, Dustpelt, and Sandstorm were laughing about old times in ThunderClan, their apprentice days, and primarily how much trouble they'd got into. And Hollyleaf, Lionblaze, and Cinderheart were huddled in a small group, walking silently. Everything seemed like a usual gathering night, except Ferncloud. She had a look of worry on her face. As one of the queens of ThunderClan, proud mother of many, one could mistake that as a normal motherly instinct. But her expression told a different story. Was there actually something wrong? Shaking my head to clear it, I convinced myself that I could be overthinking things. I don't know. Everyone coming with us is just ThunderClan. This is going to be just another gathering.
But... look, Brambleclaw. Someone's missing. I overheard Firestar looking for Ashfur before we all left tonight. It just strikes me as odd. That's all.
Ashfur? What's this got to do with him? I thought everything was over. Yes, I did notice. He didn't show up for patrols this morning when I assigned them. He's usually punctual about it. I spoke to Firestar as well. It was only later that day where he actually called him missing. What about Ashfur is important tonight, Squirrelflight? I don't understand.
Well, didn't you hear? Maybe word doesn't spread around camp as fast as I remember from when I was an apprentice.
You were usually the one spreading the word.
Anyway, Ashfur spoke to Firestar personally about this gathering. He wanted to make sure he went. Look around, he's not here. Isn't that strange?
She makes a good point. If Ashfur was specifically asking to come to this gathering, why wasn't he here? More than that, why did he want to make sure he went to this gathering? Why does Squirrelflight care so much? ThunderClan isn't made for secrets. There has been more than enough of those in the past moons. I looked up at the night sky. Silverpelt shining bright. There wasn't a cloud to signal StarClan was upset about anything. I thought for a moment. My mind spoke the most logical thought it could reach at the time. I had no idea he spoke to Firestar beforehand to make sure he went to this gathering. That would explain the strange look I got from your father. Maybe he's already waiting at the gathering island.
Maybe. I just... Something's wrong, Brambleclaw. This isn't right.
Squirrelflight?
Forget it. You're right. Maybe he did go on ahead. I'm sorry for worrying so much. It's just...
There's something she's not telling me. I can't see any reason why she'd worry so much about Ashfur making it to this gathering. Still, she's right. It's best if we get some sort of answer to this. I've got an idea. Thornclaw? The Tom quickly stopped talking with Brackenfur and ran up to the front. Only his eyes betrayed a slight annoyance at being interrupted during his conversation.
Yeah, Brambleclaw? What is it? I was just telling Brackenfur about how I tore open that road.
I need you to go ahead to the gathering island and check for Ashfur.
Huh? Why? I know Firestar was worried about him today, but I'm sure he's fine. He was probably out hunting all day and lost track of time. I'm sure we've all done that before.
Look, all I know is that Ashfur didn't want to miss this gathering, and because he's not here, exchanging a quick glance towards Squirrelflight, I thought as quickly as I could, Firestar wanted to check and see if he left before us. Ashfur didn't inform us of his departure, and if he's not at the island, we can send a search party out for him when we get back to camp.
Sure. I can do that. I'll be back as quickly as I can.
That uneasiness crept in again, and the wind blew hard against my fur. We all watched as Thornclaw ran ahead along the shore of the lake. Something felt off. Like the calm before the storm, each step that took me closer to the gathering island slowly filled me with anxiety. Nothing but the gentle lapping of tiny waves on the shore could be heard. For a moment that felt like moons, it was quiet. A shrill cry struck the night air. That was Thornclaw. What happened? Picking up speed, I raced along the shore, my claws straining to grip the sand beneath me. His silhouette slowly came into view along with something else. What was that? My heart began to race. The closer I came, the more terror I felt. Had he found something? All at once, I felt my paws skid to a stop. My body turned cold, and my eyes stared wide. I couldn't breathe. This was the storm. Laying in front of me, mouth agape in a silent scream of agony, blood staining the coarse gravel around its head like a sick halo of red. I came back to my senses after hearing my mate scream out in disbelief. I had a hard time believing I was truly awake and not dreaming in some twisted ruins of the dark forest. But this was real. Ashfur was dead. I felt a cat brush past me. They gasped in horror before turning to the crowd behind me.
Leafpool! J-Feather! Anybody help! It's an emergency!
Brightheart, I couldn't bring myself to finish the sentence. It would be better for her to hear it from a medicine cat instead.
Out of our way, Furball. I smell blood.
The two Brightheart called for a rush to the front. I moved to the side as well to give them space. Once they stood in front of the body, Leafspool's expression turned cold. J-Feather seemed unfazed. Leafpool was the first to move. She crept slowly toward the body, almost too carefully, as if her deceased clanmate would reanimate before her eyes if she got close enough. What only lasted mere seconds felt like moons. Watching Leafpool run her paws along Ashfur's body, it was clear she wasn't just checking for any signs of life, but proof of an attack. Finally, with a shudder, she stopped and backed away from the corpse. Leafpool slowly turned to address the clan of cats behind her.
I can't believe this. Ashfur is dead.
This one sentence sparked a wave of disbelief and hysteria from the cats of ThunderClan.
How could this happen? This can't be.
What? How?
Who did it? This had to be deliberate.
How could you say that? You can't just assume. What if this was...
ThunderClan! Silence!
That was Firestar's voice. It boomed over the confused and scared cats of ThunderClan. Cats in the crowd parted the way as the flame-colored cat made his way through. Upon reaching the body on the shore, he paused. Many emotions and thoughts must have raced through his head at that moment. The anger and sadness of seeing a fallen clanmate, the confusion and uncertainty that came along with it. The what-ifs, hows, and whys. Was this normal for a leader to experience frequently? Would I need to address something like this one day? It took me a few moments to realize that Firestar had turned, and was walking towards me.
Brambleclaw. Brambleclaw! Do you know what happened here?
No, Firestar, I don't. Thornclaw found the body after I sent him ahead. His call is what brought us here. I don't know how he got here or what happened to him. Like I told you, he's been gone since this morning patrol. There's no way to tell how long he's been. Suddenly, the night sky got darker. My head tilted upwards towards Silverpelt, and I was shocked at what I saw. A once clear sky now filled with thick, dark, and ominous clouds. A shudder racked my body. Every doubtful feeling I had about tonight came plummeting back all at once. I couldn't help feeling that StarClan was angry. Our warrior ancestors, those who have passed on and spend their afterlife watching over us, this is their sign to tell us if they're unhappy. Squirrelflight was right. This is bad. And something told me it's going to get worse. Firestar must have noticed the signs too. His connection with StarClan is stronger than most leaders, yet he still had a hard decision to make.
ThunderClan!
Firestar's voice commanded attention. It resounded through the crowd like booming thunder. Everyone stood in silence, yet the horrified looks and confused stares from clanmates stayed. Fernclaw was staring at her paws. This was her littermate. Hollyleaf had her eyes wide, huddled next to Lineblaze and Cinderheart. Sandstorm couldn't stop staring from Firestar to Ashfur. Cloudtail, Dustpelt, and Thornclaw all lashed their tails angrily as if they would launch themselves at the first potential threat. Squirrelflight took it the worst. My mate hadn't moved from the place where we first arrived. Her body was stiff, as though all her paws were frozen to the ground. Her usually bright emerald eyes were wide with shock and cloudy with horror. It wasn't long ago that Ashfur was up and walking, hunting, patrolling, and assisting clanmates. Within moments, gone.
ThunderClan, Ashfur is dead. I know you're all confused. Please, stay calm. We'll find out what happened soon.
This has to be WindClan's doing. They murdered Ashfur.
We need to get revenge! ThunderClan won't take this lightly.
Do as Firestar says and calm down. Do you ever think before you start saying something?
If it wasn't WindClan, could it have been a rogue?
Don't be a mouse brain. What rogue would pass by the lake without being spotted by a patrol?
What about a badger or a fox then?
This close to the lake itself? That doesn't make any sense. All the fox dens are deeper within our territory.
Do you think he ran into an accident?
What if it was one of...
Silence! I understand your concerns, but we will get to the bottom of this. Our clanmate was killed, and if another cat is responsible, this could have serious consequences. For now, ThunderClan, please follow Squirrelflight back to the camp. Tell the rest of the clan what has happened, and that we will have answers soon. Brambleclaw, Jayfeather, and Leafpool will accompany me to the Gathering Island to tell the other clans that ThunderClan will not be attending. Refrain from jumping to conclusions. Baseless accusations could be detrimental to the clan as a whole. One wrong paw step from here could spark war between clans. Especially now.
Firestar's gaze scanned the clan. His eyes rested on Thornclaw and Dustpelt, the two who outwardly spoke negatively of WindClan about Ashfur's death. He then nodded to Squirrelflight.
Are you okay, Squirrelflight?
Firestar gave a quick lick of comfort to his daughter's muzzle. It seemed to pull her out of her trance.
Yes, Firestar. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We'll figure this out. For now, I need you here for the clan.
You're right. Okay, let's get back to camp.
Squirrelflight straightened up and kept her head high as she looked back toward her clanmates.
ThunderClan, return to camp.
Firestar, what about the body?
Thornclaw and Lionblaze will keep guard. No evidence will be destroyed nor tampered with. We need to act now. The medicine cats will look over the body tomorrow. Afterward, the elders will bury him and we will hold a vigil for him tomorrow night. Ashfur was a brave warrior of ThunderClan. He deserves proper treatment, but if this death was the fault of a group of rogues, or another clan, the medicine cats will find the signs for it.
Wind Clan and a bunch of rogues don't have a lot of differences.
Thornclaw and Lionblaze nodded their heads, seeming to understand the importance of their task. At once, Squirrelflight began to move on shaky paws, leading the rest of the stunned clan to follow her. Firestar watched after them. I could only guess what could have been going through his mind. This all felt so sudden and strange. Who would do something like this? And what was Cinderheart going to say? What if it was one of us? Could someone in ThunderClan really do this? No, it had to have been a rogue, or another clan out for revenge. That had to be it. The ThunderClan leader turned back once the rest of the clan vanished over the horizon.
Brambleclaw, Leafpool, Jayfeather, we're going to the Gathering Island to let the other clans know we won't be attending. We will not mention Ashfur's death, just that the camp has had an emergency to attend to immediately. I'm bringing you three along to let the other clans know that we are not weak during this time. Do you understand?
Yes, Firestar.
Of course.
Without another word, Firestar flicked his tail, signaling for us to follow, and we all padded in silence to the Gathering Island until Leafpool spoke up.
Firestar, this murder was by a cat. From the quick inspection I did, there was a wound on his throat. Those were claw scratches. We were still in ThunderClan territory, and Jayfeather's right. We patrol our borders frequently. This couldn't have been a rogue or a loner. I just hope you're prepared.
I know. The problem now is what's done is done, and there's no going back. The other clans will have to answer for the crime that was committed tonight. I wasn't lying when I said this could spark a war. We just have to make sure that ThunderClan survives. I'm as prepared as I can be. Something wasn't right when Ashfur was reported missing by Brambleclaw today. I'm just shocked this is what it turned out to be.
ThunderClan will recover from this, right?
Don't worry, Leafpool. What happened to Ashfur will not be forgotten. I promise we'll be okay.
ThunderClan survives? Was one of the other clans responsible for this murder? Why now? Why Ashfur? What was he doing by the lake to begin with? So many questions, and I doubted any of them would have the answers that meant good news. Being trapped in my own mind, I was hardly aware of my kit, Jayfeather, padding beside me. His gaze looked directly at me as if he could see me.
Brambleclaw, this goes deeper than you know. The other clans are not to blame for this. This is so much worse than you could possibly imagine. Just be ready. That storm you're afraid of, it's coming.
My paws landed softly on the ground of the Gathering Island. Passing over the fallen tree to reach the area where all four clans meet felt much more challenging this time. Like a new weight threatened to push my body into the lake water below. Leafpool and Jayfeather soon joined me as Firestar was already pushing through towards the center of the island. I waved my tail to the other two to follow, and eventually, all four of us stepped into the clearing that held the gathering. We were late. The eyes of hundreds of warriors all turned on us from River Clan, Shadow Clan, and Wind Clan. Firestar didn't seem fazed, but I couldn't help bristling my fur slightly. Even the blind Jayfeather wasn't immune to feeling this pressure. My attention was then brought to the top of the tree where all the leaders sat to give their news.
Good of ThunderClan to finally show up to this gathering. I was starting to think you got lost.
That was Blackstar of Shadow Clan. Never too fond of ThunderClan as a whole.
Does ThunderClan think they're so important that they can start the gathering whenever they decide to show up? You don't own the forest.
Leopardstar is the River Clan leader. Despite being the eldest of the four, she has a sharp tongue and a keen nose for sniffing out any sign of weakness.
Is everything alright, Firestar? Where's the rest of your clan?
Onestar, Wind Clan's leader, was the most respectful out of the three with a long-standing friendship with Firestar. Despite his genuine intention, the question he asked was dangerous. I'm sure Firestar knew what position he was put in. Saying the ThunderClan couldn't make it due to a vague incident would make us sound weak. Mentioning the discovery of Ashfur will cause a ripple of confusion and suspicion. The best we can do is stay silent. I let my fur relax, silently thanking StarClan I wouldn't be the one to explain everything to the other clans.
Thank you for your concern, Onestar. I assure you nothing is wrong with ThunderClan, as we are strong and prosperous as ever. Something happened, and we figured it would be respectful to arrive with representatives to announce that ThunderClan will not be attending this gathering.
A loud crash of thunder echoed overhead, nearly startling me out of my fur. After I took a moment to collect myself, I let my head raise to look at the sky. It seems the other leaders followed, as all eyes in the clearing were gazing at Silverpelt. What I saw froze me in place. Complete blackness.
StarClan is angry.
Firestar! What did you and your clan do?
This can't be!
I felt a rumble beneath my paws. It felt like the earth would open up and swallow everyone on the island. There were rocks in my stomach. Something was happening. Onestar is right. StarClan was angry at Ashfur's murderer. Something about the moon caught my attention. Stars were escaping from the bright orb in the sky. We're all now spiraling downward towards the clearing. The cats in the clearing began to panic at one another. The leaders in the tree attempted to bark orders to their clan while clanmates ran to the bushes, surrounding the clearing, leaving a vast empty space for the stars to land in. Screams pierced the air as the stars grew closer and closer. Firestar, Jayfeather, Leafpool, and I were the only four left in the clearing. Within a few moments, the stars landed on the ground, then continued to spin, faster and faster until the last of the stars collided. Over time, the shape of the stars changed, and the white outline of a cat appeared. I blinked a few times to make sure I wasn't dreaming. Was this a real StarClan cat appearing before all of us at a gathering? They've never done something like this before. Was the murder this important? I looked over at my clanmates. Both of the medicine cat's gazes were unmoving. Leafpool stared at the newcomer with curiosity, Jayfeather with more suspicion in his blind gaze. Firestar had his eyes wide, as if he recognized the cat that came to visit him for StarClan.
I can't believe it. What are you doing here?
Silence, Firestar.
I saw my leader take a step back, clearly shocked at the harsh tone of the StarClan visitor. Before Firestar could speak again, the glowing cat continued. Their starry tail gently swung back and forth. Their composure was calm, yet determined, but their voice sounded off.
Firestar, ThunderClan, and cats of all other clans. A body has been discovered.
Silence. I felt chills down my spine, but why now? Why in front of the other clans like this? The leaders on top of the tree looked at one another before, one by one, climbing down from the branches they were perched upon. Blackstar was the first to speak as they landed.
What kind of mouse-brain prophecy is this? Why show up now? And to Firestar of all cats? It seems like StarClan is taking sides.
Blackstar, hold on a moment. Let's see what they have to say.
I'm dreadfully curious as well.
The dead body of a cat has been discovered, killed with intent. A cat whose life was still yet to live. Firestar, this act was done by one of your clanmates.
My body froze. One of us? I kept replaying the words in my head over and over. Could it be true? No! No! All of ThunderClan is loyal. No one would kill Ashfur in cold blood. Yet, why is a StarClan cat telling us this?
Say this is true, and someone from ThunderClan did kill Ashfur. There isn't a reason to stop this gathering for a ThunderClan issue. Why contact us here? Why not send a dream, an omen, or wait until the half moon for the medicine cat?
Jayfeather, shh! I'm sure they have their reasons. We need to listen to our ancestors.
One of us? Who? Can you tell us who killed Ashfur?
Oh, Firestar. It's not quite that simple. Because of this dreadful action, StarClan can no longer trust ThunderClan to listen to their warrior ancestors or follow the warrior code. Too many times has it been broken. Too many times has this code been shoved aside. Now, the consequences are right in front of you, Firestar. StarClan will remove all contact with the clans, leaving you all to fend for yourselves.
What? No, this can't be. Does this mean it's true? Someone in ThunderClan killed Ashfur? Why? And why did StarClan choose now to cut contact? What other parts of the code were being broken? How many secrets does ThunderClan have? Too many questions spiraled in my brain. None of them I like the answer to.
You can't do that! What about our clan, or the others?
It's not our fault that Firestar can't keep his band of rogues and loners together by the code. You can't do this!
There has to be something we can do. Losing our warrior ancestors?
Please, don't do this. If you break contact with the clans, it could spell disaster. You've seen what tragedy can do to a clan who's not united by StarClan?
Well, there is a way. But doing so would test all of your loyalty, not only to your clan or to StarClan, but to one another.
I felt a nervous lump in my throat as the StarClan cat looked directly at me. I didn't know what they would say next, but I could tell I wouldn't like it. And I was left speechless.
Firestar, I will give you 15 names that could have committed the murder. Only one of them is the true culprit. The one who killed Ashfur. Tomorrow at sundown, just as the moon begins to rise again, all 15 cats will arrive at the same gathering island, including all 4 leaders of each clan. You will then debate amongst each other to who the culprit really is. Keep in mind that the culprit will do everything they can to keep their secret hidden. If you are unable to reveal and unanimously vote on the culprit, StarClan will forever close communications with the clans, causing the untold tragedies that you're so afraid of.
I understand. StarClan, have faith in ThunderClan. We will find Ashfur's murderer.
And what of this murderer? What will happen to them when we vote correctly?
StarClan will leave the punishment to interpretation when the culprit is discovered. We want a fair trial.
The glowing cat took one last scan around the clearing. Its piercing gaze felt more hostile than any StarClan cat should have. As their eyes rested on me, my body felt cold. After a few heartbeats, which felt like moons, they spoke one last time.
You will have until sundown tomorrow, Firestar, to prepare the following 15 cats.
The walk home from the gathering was slow. My paws felt heavy with exhaustion, and my mind still felt the shock of what I heard. One of us? The names we heard from StarClan were all loyal cats. Not a single one of them was capable of murder. Something is wrong. It has to be. I won't let our loyalty in ThunderClan be divided. As soon as that happens, we wouldn't be a clan anymore. Padding through the entrance of the camp, we were greeted by a few warriors. Some I recognized the names that StarClan gave us. Others were just curious about what had happened at the gathering. Firestar explained to me that he'll describe the gathering's events to the clan in the morning, so as to not cause panic and wake everyone up. I walked to my nest in the warrior's den. As I expected, my mate, Squirrelflight, was fast asleep. The gentle rising and falling of her body put me almost immediately at ease. My whole body felt tired. My emotions felt dry, but one spark was still giving me fire. The spark of loyalty, to not let my clan down. I will protect my clanmates, no matter what. I made a pact to myself that when I woke in the morning, I would find as much information as I can about this murder. If this is a test of loyalty from StarClan, I'll make sure all my clanmates pass. I will find this culprit. I will find the murderer of Ashfur. We will not lose. My dreams turned into nightmares. I began coughing. I tried to clear my eyes, but I couldn't see past the dark clouds swimming throughout my vision. What was going on? Where was I? My ears perked. I heard screaming. I recognized those voices. Squirrelflight? Where were they? I began to panic. My family was in trouble. I have to do something. I fought my way through the thick gray clouds toward the voices I heard, their screams getting louder and louder as the fire got closer and closer to me. I began to feel its heat, the flames lapping at my tail. Behind me, I pushed forward. Just as I got past the final gray cloud to reach Squirrelflight, the sight before me caused me to collapse. It was Squirrelflight, but in the same position as Ashfur's body. Bloodied, cold, dead. Then, everything went dark. I couldn't tell if I was still dreaming or not. Where was I? Where was Squirrelflight? Where was anyone? For what felt like moons, I was alone. Until an echoing voice surrounded me, causing my fur to bristle and my ears stand at attention. I tried my hardest to make out what they were saying. I couldn't bring myself to speak or respond to them. No cat showed themselves. I tried my best to find where the noise was coming from. I even began running. I couldn't find them. I couldn't get away. They grew louder and louder until... I sat up quickly the following morning, my breathing heavy, and I could still hear the voices. What was that? Was StarClan trying to send a message to me? Is Squirrelflight in danger? I shook my head, attempting to clear it. Just a bad dream. Just a bad dream. Everyone is on edge today to begin with. This is the day one of my clanmates would get convicted of a crime. My heart still doesn't want to believe that one of them could, but my head knows that I need to solve this mystery for my innocent clanmates. I sat in attention in my nest, hearing distressed noises echoing around the clearing. Cats were awake. Perking my ears, I strained to hear what was going on. I could hear Firestar's voice on top of the high rock.
We must all remain calm during this time, which is why I ask that the murderer of Ashfur please come forward now or before sundown.
With all due respect, Firestar, the culprit probably murdered Ashfur with the intent to not be discovered. I don't think revealing themselves now in front of the entire clan will do them any good.
On that logic, why would Ashfur's body be on the way to the gathering? The culprit must have known we'd see the body eventually.
I still think it's WindClan's fault somehow. They could have been framing us. StarClan could have been fooled.
Don't be mouse-brained, Dustpelt. StarClan wouldn't do what they did if it wasn't to test us.
What if it was an accident, or the heat of the moment? What do we do then?
I agree with Hollyleaf. They may not have had any malicious intent.
Did you two hear, Firestar? StarClan said specifically that there was intent. This cat is a murderer, and when I find them...
And just what happens to the culprit when we find them?
StarClan mentioned interpretations. It's too cryptic to say if they'll do anything or not.
Firestar is fair. If the culprit explained themselves, maybe they would...
Enough! That's enough. We need to focus. It's almost sun high, and these 15 cats need to do everything they can to prepare. Please, take the time you have to investigate this murder. will work together as a clan. It breaks my heart as the leader of this great clan that one would betray another. So I implore you to help each other, be there for each other, and remember your loyalty to the clan and the code. The minute we start distrusting one another, that's when we are no longer one of the 4 clans.
The clan fell to an eerie silence after Firestar gave that speech. He's right. As soon as either of us starts questioning each other's loyalty, we fall apart. We only have a few hours to prepare for what will happen. I have to do what I can to help my clanmates. We'll find this culprit. The clan began to disperse, talking amongst each other. Border patrols were put on hold until this issue was resolved. Hunting patrols were few and far between. The camp had nervous energy cascading throughout each cat. Despite Firestar's words, I felt worried my clanmates were already starting to doubt one another. I shook my head to clear it. Now is not the time to worry. I have to get going. The best place to start? At the scene of the crime itself. At the very least, some questions might be answered there. I padded silently through the forest toward the shore of the lake. I felt bile rise in my throat at the thought of seeing the dead body again. But as soon as I pushed through the last bush, another shock caught me. The body was gone. The body of Ashfur was completely removed. How was anyone supposed to investigate without seeing what killed Ashfur based on the body scars, or if he died of any other means? Was this the culprit's doing to remove evidence? I began pacing, trying to think of what I'd do next. Just as I was going to give up, the bushes rustled behind me, and 3 cats emerged. I tilted my head curiously. What were Jayfeather, Leafpool, and Brightheart doing here? Were they hoping to get a good look at the body too? Brightheart, despite not being a medicine cat, still does helpful work when times are hard. It's too late for them to take a look, I guess.
You slept in, Brambleclaw. I guess it makes sense. Finding out one of your clanmates is a killer doesn't sit well with me either. But now you're running out of time. Should have came to us so we can give you some poppy seeds. Knock you out cold. Oh, right. You don't know. The elders already buried the body, so you don't need to worry about the culprit tampering with evidence.
Jayfeather, Leafpool, and I already performed an autopsy on the body beforehand. Don't worry, it was thorough.
It better have been. We were the ones who gave the elders permission after Firestar gave the okay. He said the vigil will be tomorrow night instead, when all of this is finally over.
Thanks, StarClan. I had assumed the worst. Thank you, 3. Well, what did you find?
If you're sure you can handle the gory details.
The body wasn't moved to the lake. There were no blood trails that we could see. Though we're not certain, as it could have been washed away at high tide. No signs of blood near the bush parameter, though.
There wasn't a sign of a struggle either, so it had to have been an attack without Ashfur knowing. No fur and claws, but as Leafpool said, we can't rule out being washed off.
The body wasn't old, by a lot. There was one non-fatal cut to the throat, the entire body was waterlogged, and his eyes were majorly bloodshot. Apart from that, Ashfur was foaming at the mouth. And before you ask, no, we don't know the cause of death. Yet. There are a few things I want to explore first.
Like what?
Currently, none of your business. I'm doing my own investigation too. I can't give you all the answers, can I?
Jayfeather!
What? Is this so wrong of me? I'm keeping information until I know for certain it's true. And for all I know, Brambleclaw could have—
Jayfeather, don't accuse your father like that.
I don't like this any more than you do, but we need to be careful. Say for some unbelievable reason, Brambleclaw actually killed Ashfur. If I tell him everything I know, that'd put the culprit at the advantage. Remember, Leafpool? They're trying everything they can to work against us here.
Was that a compliment? I didn't know you had it in you, Jayfeather.
Shut that dirt place entrance you call a muzzle!
As much as I'd hate to admit it, Jayfeather is right. The culprit knows the consequences, yet they decide to stay hidden. I want to believe they're too embarrassed or afraid of punishment, but...
It still doesn't mean you can lose loyalty to your clanmates like this. Brambleclaw has done nothing to deserve your distrust.
Brambleclaw hasn't.
What was that? I can't even tell if that was Jayfeather's usual demeanor or if it was something else. But I guess that makes sense. I wouldn't want to get false information to believe it was true. This test is about facts. We need truth in order to prevail. The autopsy is a great start. I'm glad they shared that information with me. At the very least, it gives me a starting point to continue asking questions. Counter question. If the body was already buried, what are you three doing back at the scene of the crime?
If you think you can accuse us of—
We're doing exactly what you're doing, Brambleclaw. We're investigating.
Doing our best to clear out our names and find the truth. We wanted to catch a glimpse of the scene once more to get a better idea of what had happened.
No, I wasn't trying... Everything is so messed up, and I'm just trying to get all the facts straight. Thank StarClan Firestar left Lionblaze and Thornclaw behind to watch the body. We'd be at a loss if the culprit had full access to remove evidence. I should ask if they saw anything suspicious that night.
Doesn't help that the body was hours old. The killer could have had ample time.
There still has to be something we found that they missed. Think about it. If the killer was a warrior, they won't have your extensive, albeit creepy, knowledge of herbs, Jayfeather.
Yeah. Sure. I need to do a scan of the perimeter one more time.
Oh, do you think we missed something? I could come
Alone, Leafpool. I don't need your help. I've never needed your help. Just leave me alone.
I'm sure he doesn't mean it. That's just Jayfeather for you.
I'm sure he's got a plan. He's always been smarter than he looks. It'll be okay, Leafpool.
You're right. I'm just worried. Maybe the stress of all this is getting to me. Come on, Brightheart. Let's head back to camp. I'll show you how to treat cats with shock. Thornclaw might be having a rough time.
If it's all the same to you, Leafpool, I'd like to do a bit of investigating on my own as well. I'll join you in a few.
Oh, that's fine, Brightheart. Just make sure you're back before sundown. Everyone should leave camp by then.
Of course. I'll see you soon.
Don't worry, Leafpool. I guarantee ThunderClan will not fall apart because of Ashfur's murder.
Yeah. Thank you, Brambleclaw.
Leafpool padded away into the tree line. As I watched her go, I realized that something about the conversation struck me as odd. A lump of nervousness formed in my belly. I couldn't put my paw on it, but Jayfeather was acting more agitated than usual. Then again, like Leafpool said, the whole situation has everyone anxious. Just the thought that one of us could be the murderer made my fur stand on end. I turned around, faced the lake, and watched the waves crash one at a time onto the shore. Blood was spilled here, yet it still looks peaceful as ever. What could have happened? There are still so many questions I have, but the first one that comes to mind is, why? Why kill Ashfur? Who had a motive against him? ThunderClan has been at peace for moons, or I thought it was. I took a step forward and felt something under my pad that didn't feel like sand or gravel. It felt strange. I lifted my paw to take a look. This wasn't a pebble at all. What was this doing here? Why near the body of Ashfur to begin with? I looked around to make sure. Ashfur's bloodstain was directly next to where the seed was. Should the tide have taken this away? No, it was too far. I feel like I should have recognized what this was, but the name didn't come to mind. Could this be a clue? No, I was thinking too far into this. There's no way. How could this have any meaning toward the murder of Ashfur? Still, I promised myself I'd look for all the facts, so for the time being... Without the body, there isn't much else to look at around the crime scene. Any paw prints would have been easily replaced or hidden, and evidence from the body itself had already been gathered. Maybe I can check the tree line. It's possible Ashfur was enjoying the lake or on a walk when a cat ambushed him. They could have left evidence back there. I quickly turned and began to dart toward the tree line to investigate. I only made it a few paw steps when Brightheart stopped me with a worried glance.
Brambleclaw, wait. Before you go, I'd like to bring up some concerns I have.
Clearly, something is troubling the she-cat. What is it, Brightheart?
Well, I went to check on Cloudtail on the night before the gathering. And I couldn't find him anywhere. I'm worried about him. What if this murderer is picking off cats who are alone at night? Would Cloudtail be in danger?
That's odd. I could have sworn You're saying he didn't tell you where he went that night?
No. I was only relieved when I saw him in his nest the following morning. He smelled weird, too. I'm just worried about him. I know he's had a rougher start than the rest of you. But this doesn't mean he committed the murder. Cloudtail wouldn't do that.
Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I'll be sure to ask him why he wasn't at his post. But, Brightheart, I'm sorry. As much as I hate it, StarClan included both you and Cloudtail on their list. I need to consider all angles here, and everyone that StarClan listed is a suspect. That includes you and Cloudtail. But I'll do my best to clear his name.
Thank you, Brambleclaw. I know he's not a murderer. If you do find that he's gone behind my back to break the code, do let me know. And don't worry about a punishment if that's the case. That will be my job.
Fair enough, Brightheart. For his sake, I hope he's clean. Cloudtail wasn't at his post. I set him as a night guard that night. That's strange. I can't be certain Cloudtail committed the murder, but I won't ignore this. The best way to clear his name is to find out how old Ashfur's body is. I'm sure the medicine cats will have an answer to this at the trial later today. Okay, time to check the perimeter around the tree line. If the killer was lying in wait until Ashfur was in a good spot, this would be it. I should probably check the bushes first. If a bush scratched the killer, it would leave behind a tuft of fur. Maybe there would be some paw prints too. I began to slowly make my way around, inspecting each tree trunk and piece of foliage that I could. So far, nothing to note. Did the killer meet with Ashfur instead of ambushing him? There's one very common route to the lake that everyone took. I kept looking. Each bush and tree trunk I came across were all too small for a cat to be behind. Except for one. As I got closer, it suddenly dawned on me what this bush was. Nightshade! I took one giant leap backwards. Nightshade berries were poisonous, very poisonous. If I got any on my fur, I wouldn't be able to wash myself with my tongue for days without worry. The medicine cats told us all to stay away from these bushes, no matter what. I know Jayfeather is still nearby. If he saw me this close, I'd be chewed out in an instant. I took one big, deep breath and started slowly approaching the bush. I made a promise to investigate everything, and if that includes a hiding spot in the worst place in ThunderClan... Upon reaching the bush, I peered around it. No fur anywhere, and I couldn't see any paw prints, but... what was that? They looked squished. But how could this happen? The first thing that came to my mind was a rabbit or a squirrel. But the damage looks too big to be done by prey. If it was, I hope that prey doesn't get caught, or someone in ThunderClan may become deathly ill. I might as well remember this. You never know when it could be a useful fact, especially this close to where the body was found. The more I think about what could have happened here, the more questions I have. Each possible solution I can come up with doesn't have any answer. That should be everything here. I couldn't find a reason to stick around. Jayfeather can handle himself. Despite being blind, he's found his way around camp for moons on end. We'll see him at the clan trial. Besides, I'd rather not poke my head in a badger's den again. It'd be best to head back to camp. Maybe to question cats that StarClan listed. I took a look at the sky above me. The sun was starting to head down. We didn't have a lot of time to continue investigating. We needed to be at the gathering island for this at sundown. My mind was racing as I made my way back to the camp, passing from the main lake entrance through the tree line and a small pathway. This was the most common path to the lake. ThunderClan knew about this path, so maybe the killer did too. I shook my head to clear it. I can't keep thinking these things. I'm beginning to doubt my own clanmates. What's wrong with me? Just as I was deep within my own thoughts, I felt something large crash into my chest, knocking the wind out of me. I just about panicked and lashed my claws out when my senses came to me, and I saw a cat with a dark pelt glaring down at me.
Can't see where you're going today, Brambleclaw? Didn't know that you could be that on edge. Understandable. I've been keeping my distance as well. Don't want to be the next victim.
Dustpelt. I must have ran into him without thinking. He kept looking at me as I picked myself up expecting an answer. At the very least, this is one of the cats I wanted to talk to. Might as well ask him now. Yeah, sorry about that, Dustpelt. I was just thinking, I guess. Hey, listen.
Be careful next time, Mousebrain. For all I know, you could be the killer.
What? Dustpelt, I would never—
Don't even start. That's the exact same thing I've heard from everyone else that StarClan accused. You can't exactly expect me to believe every one of them, right? We've got a cold-blooded killer among us. If they were just faking doing their tasks in front of all of us. Listen, Brambleclaw. I know you've been a great deputy, but until the culprit can be found, I really can't trust anyone. Anyone except...
Except who?
Ferncloud, Thornclaw, and Sandstorm. Ferncloud is obvious. She would never go out of her way to kill her brother. I find it cruel that StarClan chose her in the first place. What were they thinking?
Thornclaw and Sandstorm?
Did I knock the brains out of your head or something? You don't remember the patrol you sent us on? I didn't think I'd need to spell it out for you like the stories elders give to kids, all full of pointless exposition.
Oh, right. Yes, I do remember. You were the only patrol I sent out that night to get everyone rested up for the gathering. The Moon High Patrol. Now that you bring it up, did you see anyone or anything suspicious that night? Was everyone accounted for during the entire patrol?
Just a normal patrol, nothing really to report a suspicious activity. We left camp right when you told us and saw no one on our route. We took our time at the top of WindClan's border replacing scent markers. The boring stuff. Would have been more interesting if we met a WindClan patrol or one of those feather-brained apprentices. It was a really quiet night, even so that Sandstorm went hunting and brought back a mouse. We ended patrol just before we broke the tree line and began our walk back to camp. By the time we made it back, I could start to see the sky change color just as it does before dawn.
So, nothing out of the ordinary. Ashfur was found near WindClan's border on the lake. If the killer was nearby, this patrol could have been the only ones to see them.
I'm sorry, Brambleclaw. If you want an alibi, that's the best you'll get. Either me, Thornclaw, or Sandstorm could have committed that murder. I'm sure of it.
Well, thank you. Clearing names for this murder is something I'd prefer doing anyways. If you see anything else noteworthy, please don't hesitate
Hey,
to—
Brambleclaw, Dustpelt.
I heard a familiar voice and a few loud steps as another clanmate of mine, Graystripe, bounded towards us. Always a cheerful Tom, willing to crack a joke to brighten the mood. I've even heard many stories of the mischief he and his best friend Firestar got up to in their apprentice days. He's been through his fair share of tragedies, though. I can't imagine him as Ashfur's murderer. Nothing would ever fit unless he was lying to all of us like a crazed psychopath. Good to see you, Graystripe. Find anything important?
For what? Yeah. No, I didn't. I've spent all day with Millie and the kids. They've been so worried, but I've told them there isn't anything to worry about. I'll find the culprit, no problem.
Kind of hard to do that when you haven't been investigating.
Correction. I haven't started investigating. And I'll do that after I ask you for a favor, Dustpelt.
Favor? What for?
Well, I know how good you are with planning and building dens.
Oh no.
Bumblecit sort of tore a new hole into the den wall, causing a massive draft. I know. Hasn't even been a moon since you repaired his last rampage. But I was wondering if you can help out with patching that up. Shouldn't take too long.
Well, I'll only come because of how curious I am that Bumbleclaw has managed to wreck the walls once more.
Thank you, Dustpelt. And thank Ferncloud for me too. She's been super helpful with the kits to ease Millie's stress.
I will. Ferncloud loves it in the nursery. It makes her feel like she's helping a lot more. Regardless, it shouldn't be too bad to find spare dead Bracken and Bramble around. After the fire, there seems to be an endless supply.
You're right. StarClan, that was a horrible night. I'm glad we all made it out safe. That reminds me, Brambleclaw. I do remember something that might be important.
What is it?
After the fire, I noticed Ashfur was being more distant with, well, everybody.
He was?
Yeah. I found it very strange. After all, he seemed perfectly fine during the fire when he
Graystripe, are we going or not? We're already running out of time before you have to get to the island.
Right. I'm coming, Dustpelt. Hope that helped, Brambleclaw. See ya.
It does, Graystripe. Truth be told, that still brings up more unanswered questions. Still, it may become useful when we're discussing about this murder later. Ashfur was distant from everyone after the fire? What happened? Despite how unhelpful Dustpelt can be, I did manage to get something out of him. The patrol I assigned that night was Dustpelt, Thornclaw, and Sandstorm. I was happy to cross those suspects off my list. Still, Dustpelt's distrust in me gave me a sick feeling in my stomach. If I messed up, would all my clanmates think I murdered Ashfur? It was about time I investigated the camp. After all, if the culprit isn't ThunderClan, that's where a lot of clues would reside. I continued up the path from the lake in the direction of the camp. Thinking back to all the evidence I've gathered so far, it's not enough. All the bits I've gathered don't point to any cat as the one who did it. Maybe StarClan was wrong. Maybe it wasn't even a ThunderClan cat who... I stopped in my tracks. I was almost near the camp entrance. What was that? I padded closer to the nearby bush and inspected it thoroughly. I managed to find something. Looking closely, it was a scrap of fur caught on a bush. Usually cats keep great care not to run into bramble bushes like this. Whoever scraped their pelt must have not been able to see where they were going. Either that, or they weren't in the right space of mind. Much like me when crashing into Dustpelt. Maybe this could help me find who the culprit is. This was on the main path toward the lake, so whoever went this way must have been going to the shore. I leaned down and sniffed the fur. Maybe a cat's scent was still on it. Almost immediately, I was taken aback. I couldn't help myself from gasping in horror. It couldn't be. This fur... I won't believe it. I won't believe it. This has to be some mistake. I won't believe it. There was still time. There was still time to clear their name and find the real culprit. There needs to be more evidence. I need to check with the cats who were accused. As I passed through the camp entrance, the same entrance I assigned Cloudtail to the night of the murder, I was welcomed by a camp that could be best described as controlled chaos. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. Apprentices were avoiding warriors, some calling them murderers. The queens weren't allowing the kids to play outside anymore, and the elders were sunbathing, acting as if nothing had happened. The warriors, if not frantically pacing, were searching for any scrap of evidence that could clear their name. I think it was best if I started with a cat I could always trust. He was sitting in the middle of the camp, tail curled around his paws. They were a model warrior, and someone I was surprised to hear StarClan list as one of the 15 cats. Hey, Brackenfur, is everything alright? I know you must be nervous.
Oh, hey, Brambleclaw. No, I'm not nervous. I'm not too nervous. I trust my clanmates. I don't believe any one of us could have killed Ashfur.
But you heard...
I know what I heard, and what Firestar announced this morning. But after I've had time to think, I've realized that I'm loyal to ThunderClan, so I'll do everything I can to make sure my clanmates are safe. I don't doubt any one of them.
This is such a change of pace compared to Dustpelt. Well, I appreciate your positivity about the situation, Brackenfur. I'm with you. I want to make sure I can clear everyone's name. To do that, I need your cooperation, so I've got just a few questions for you.
Of course, Brambleclaw, I trust you.
Thank you. To start, where were you on the night of the murder?
Well, I was asleep in the warrior's den. I don't really have proof of this, unless someone was awake watching us that night. That sounds creepier than I wanted it to be. I'm sorry it's an answer that doesn't bring many conclusions. I'm being honest. I was in the warrior's den that night. As far as the following day, I stayed in camp most of the day helping the apprentices with duties. I don't know when Ashfur died, but that's everything I've done until we found the body.
Well, I'll believe you until you give me a reason to doubt. Don't worry, Brackenfur. You're all right.
I know I didn't do it, but getting interrogated always gets me nervous.
Did you see anything suspicious that night? And when was the last time you saw Ashfur?
Well, I didn't see anything suspicious other than Ashfur himself. I was eating fresh kill next to him that night, just before I went to the warrior's den. Suddenly, during the meal, Ashfur stood up and said I have to go, and walked out of camp. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now that you've asked, yeah, it was suspicious. He even left a half-eaten piece of fresh kill behind. I hope he wasn't sick.
He had to leave? That late at night? Did he say where he was going?
When I asked, he said he needed to meet someone, and that he'd be fine. I didn't ask anything else, and he slipped out of camp.
Wait, he said he was meeting someone? Do you think...
I couldn't tell you. We'd need to figure out when he died first before we decide that.
You're right. The more I think about it, the more I realize how much of a problem that question will be. So, Ashfur left before Brackenfur went to the warrior's den. He was even acting suspicious. This could be useful. Thank you, Brackenfur. That information helps. I'm going to do everything I can to clear your name tonight. Don't you worry.
I trust you, Brambleclaw, and I know you wouldn't murder any cat either. Take care, and good luck tonight. The fresh kill pile is full if you like to eat. We'll be leaving soon.
As Brackenfur padded away, the word soon hit me like a fallen tree. He's right. The meeting is soon. 15 ThunderClan members will be arguing, losing trust, and accusing one another. One of us will be chosen as a murderer of Ashfur soon. There has to be more evidence, maybe in places we don't check often. As I sat there thinking to myself, I didn't realize that 2 cats were padding up to me.
Told you he'd be too deep in thought to pay attention to us.
He took more fresh kill from Firestar's pile than Tigerstar on that. He was always too deep in thought to pay attention to anything.
Oh, Sandstorm, Squirrelflight, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry about it, you furball. It's been a stressful day for all of us.
I never liked this idea to begin with. I can't imagine StarClan will actually follow through with it.
And they won't, provided we work together to find the culprit. Speaking of which, Brambleclaw.
Does she think I did it?
Have you found anything that leads to who did it?
I am an idiot. Everything I've found now doesn't fit. Sure, I found things, but for all I know, they mean nothing. Maybe the culprit already cleaned up their crime enough to where we're grasping at twigs.
Don't worry, I know we can find them. After all, you're already doing a great job. I can tell.
Thank you, Squirrelflight. I don't know how she does it. My mate always seems to lift my spirits. I can't believe I was almost too stubborn to keep her. Whatever happens at this trial, I know we can make it through. Now that I have you both here, I wanted to get your opinions on what you saw and if you found anything.
I can't say much about what I've seen. You put me on the midnight patrol. I was with Dustpelt and Thornclaw. After that, I went to Firestar's den. During the day, I spent time watching over camp. It was boring, but at least it's more interesting than what I saw Graystripe doing. Poor Tom spent the whole day trying to get his kids to do a hunter's crouch. Even he couldn't get it right.
My mother wouldn't dare lay a claw on anyone without reason. As for me, you should know where I was that night, Mousebrain. We practically share the same nest. I admittedly haven't found anything that could lead me to Ashfur's murderer. I have a hard time believing anyone in ThunderClan would be capable of...
I do too. But somebody must have. StarClan wouldn't have shown up if that wasn't true. Squirrelflight, I know you and Ashfur have had a... well... history. Is there anything you can tell me about how Ashfur was acting the past few days?
That history is long over, Brambleclaw. Let it go.
Sandstorm, it's alright,
Don't dig up old bones, Brambleclaw. You might find answers to questions you never needed to ask. Besides, everything is... I can't talk about this now. I'll leave you two to it.
Sandstorm? Where did this question come from, Brambleclaw? You know I chose you.
I know. I just... maybe you knew something about how strange Ashfur was acting after...
Strange? What do you mean? I don't know anything about it! This trial already has me anxious. I don't need you to accuse me of knowing something that I don't.
No, Squirrelflight, I didn't mean... I'm sorry for bringing up all this. It just seemed like...
Nothing happened, Brambleclaw. I've stopped paying attention to anything Ashfur has said and done. Leave it alone.
You're right. I guess it's getting to me, too. I'm not accusing you, Squirrelflight. I know you'd never kill Ashfur. I trust you completely, and I always will. No matter what. We'll be a team through this. We've always been a team. Just look at our kits, for example. They've turned into fine warriors, and while one of them is more prickly than a thorn bush, I'm still proud of him.
Thank you. You're okay. I realize I went too far. Look, Brambleclaw, I need to tell you something. I'm sorry it's taken me so long.
Oh, come on! I can't believe this!
Who was that?
Sounded like Leafpool. But Brambleclaw, what
Hold the thought, Squirrelflight. I promise we'll come back to it. We're almost out of time. I have to go see what this is about. This has to be important. She sounded distressed. Maybe she found something. Maybe she found fur stuck between Ashfur's claws and just now figured out who it was from. That could lead us directly to the killer. I approached the medicine den and peeked my head in. Leafpool was nowhere to be seen. I slowly crept my way in. The medicine den wasn't big, but the sound definitely came from here. I perked my ears, able to hear faint rustling coming from farther back in the den. I passed the medicine cat's nest to hear the rustling become louder. I rounded a small corner to see Leafpool bent over what looked to be leaves and berries. I assumed that was the medicine cat's herb store, located in the farthest part of the den. It was kept safe. What was she doing? Her tail was lashing. Something was definitely wrong. I decided to stop hiding and ask her directly. Leafpool? She jumped almost instantly and bristled her fur.
Brambleclaw! Great StarClan, don't sneak up on me like that! What are you even doing here?
I can ask you the same thing. What are you doing with the herbs?
After I left the lake, I came directly back to camp. I wanted to check up on the kids first and make sure Ferncloud wasn't going through shock. She's been through a lot the past few days. I wanted to bring an example mixture out to show Brightheart when she gets back, but...
Why are you so nervous? What's going on, Leafpool?
When I came back, my entire herb store was ruined. I couldn't believe it. I know I organized it a few days ago, but now it looks like a pack of badgers came through here. Normally this occurs over time. I should know. I have a blind apprentice. But nothing this bad has ever happened before.
Do you think someone came in here to mess with the medicine cats, so if anyone found Ashfur's body, you couldn't save him in time?
I don't know. It's possible. I can't wrap my tail around why someone would do this. It makes no sense to me.
Was anything destroyed?
I have to reorganize so much. The herbs look okay, for the most part. I can't see anything ripped up or crushed. Maybe a cat wasn't trying to sabotage us.
This is too much of a coincidence not to keep in mind, Leafpool. Thank you for sharing this with me.
Brambleclaw, I know you're worried, but sometimes these things happen. But, that being said, because of this, I will inform you at the trial later today if any of our herbs go missing. Who knows? This may not even be that big of a deal. But, right now, I just need to focus.
Thank you, Leafpool.
Glad I could help. Now, if you'll excuse me, please leave the medicine den so I can reorganize.
Oh, of course. I quickly backed out of the medicine den to let her work. I can't help but think she knows something I don't. Or, is this just what it's like to have a different connection to StarClan? I knew that time was beginning to run short. Firestar will call the clan together soon to travel to the Gathering Island. I need more information, another alibi, something to clear my clanmates' names. My eye spotted a pair of cats, and without thinking, I immediately walked towards them. Maybe these two can offer further information. Something that could help me locate the culprit. Something that could help me prove that what I just saw outside camp wasn't true. As I walked closer, I realized that they were already talking to one another.
I understand it's what you saw, but you don't know that she was going in that direction.
You're right, I don't. But I didn't see her go in any other direction. I care about what happened too. At this point, knowing too much is the problem. And Lion Blaze, I understand this is your... Oh! Brambleclaw, hello. We were just...
It's okay, you two. No need to worry. I don't believe either of you are the culprit. Wouldn't make me a great father to accuse my own kid and his... Anyways, I do have a few questions for you, if you don't mind.
Of course, sure.
Great. I'm just trying to get as much information as I can to clear everyone's name. The night before Ashfur was found, did you two see anything suspicious? I saw them pause, look at each other for a moment, then look back at me.
Well, me and Lion Blaze actually. We were out of camp that night.
What? What do you mean?
It's not what you think, Brambleclaw. We didn't kill Ashfur. That cat was my mentor, and I wouldn't ever even think about...
I'm sure Brambleclaw doesn't think we killed Ashfur, you mousebrain. If anything, this counts as our alibi. We can't be suspicious because we were with each other that entire night. StarClan said it was one cat who killed Ashfur, remember?
I see. Thank you both. Did anyone else see you two leave camp? It's not that I don't believe you, there are just some similarities with everyone's stories today.
If you're talking about the night guard you assigned that night, no. No one saw us...
Hollyleaf saw us leave. She can confirm our alibi.
Cinderheart, what are you doing?
Don't you trust your own father, Lion Blaze? What's wrong with you? He just said his plan was to clear the names of everyone. He would absolutely care about Hollyleaf, too.
My heart froze and felt like it fell into my stomach. Hollyleaf? What does this have to do with her? Does Lion Blaze really not trust me? Hollyleaf can confirm your alibi?
She can confirm our alibi that we left camp because, well, she...
Cinderheart, stop. Hollyleaf didn't...
She was just near the camp entrance when we left. We don't know if she was going anywhere or not.
I can't believe...
Calm down, Lion Blaze. It's okay. I don't believe Hollyleaf murdered Ashfur. I'll do everything I can for you three.
You see, Fur for Brains, I told you.
I know. I'm sorry. Brambleclaw, I'm sorry. Just please help Hollyleaf. I know she's been on edge ever since Ashfur was called missing the day of the gathering.
You're right. I was told that even before Ashfur went missing, he was acting strange. Do you two know anything about that?
I didn't speak to him at all in the past few days. That's it.
That's it? You didn't notice anything strange?
I said that's it! Ashfur went missing and was found dead. We've got nothing to do with it. Sorry if this doesn't help, Brambleclaw.
Lion Blaze?
Something isn't right. Normally, he isn't so easily agitated. Is he... lying to me? He's right, though. Ashfur went missing the day of the gathering. Firestar called this. I assume it was because Ashfur was so intent on going to the gathering. That still boggles my mind. Why? Why did he want to go to the gathering so badly? Still, if he hadn't been so adamant about it, Firestar wouldn't have called him missing the day of. So I can be thankful for that. Regardless, their alibi seems real. I'll have to trust them for now. Hollyleaf saw them leave? Maybe I should talk to her next.
Let all those cats old enough to catch their own prey join here, beneath the high rock for a clan meeting.
I've got to hurry.
It's time to get going. Just, no matter what happens tonight, Brambleclaw, protect Hollyleaf, okay?
Don't worry. I need to speak with her about this to get it cleared up. I will, Lionblaze. Before I could finish, it was already clear that Lionblaze wasn't listening anymore. He turned away and began padding towards Firestar's call. What did he mean? Why are all the cats I talked to today cryptic? My mind immediately goes back to what Jayfeather said at the gathering. This is so much worse than you could possibly imagine. The storm is coming. We're about to be thrown into a screaming match with cats we've grown up with and trusted. Is this where everything falls apart? No, I have to think of something. Anything that can help. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted her. I just need to hear her side of the story, and we can clear up everything. Hollyleaf, just a moment.
Brambleclaw, hey.
I know we need to get going, but I just wanted to ask...
No, I did not kill Ashfur.
No, that wasn't... Look, I just wanted to know...
Save it, Brambleclaw. I don't need to hear anything from you. I don't care if you think of me any worse for this. We're about to argue over who everyone believes is a murderer. This'll break everything. Brambleclaw, you've been great. I know it's not your fault.
What? Hollyleaf, what are you talking about? Can some cat please start making sense? I just want to clear your name. I care about you.
We need to get going. Don't get left behind. And I mean that for the trial, too.
Wait! Hollyleaf! Before my words reached her ears, she was already dashing toward the rest of the group. I thought this was going to be easy. Now I'm left with confusion. What happened to my kids? I slowly made my way over to the rest of the cats Firestar called for, my tail dragging behind me.
ThunderClan, I gather you all today to make the trip to the Gathering Island. It is time we uncover the murderer of Ashfur.
I have to think of something. What could I have missed? Were there any details that don't lead to who I think killed Ashfur? Who is the most likely? Were there any motives?
I would like to remind the 15 cats embarking on this journey with me that we are clanmates. A lot of us are family. We are nothing without loyalty to one another. Please, understand that.
Think! There's something that I'm missing. Think! Could it have been something in the past that I'm missing? Did something happen that caused a cat in the ThunderClan to despise Ashfur so much to murder? What's happened in the recent days in ThunderClan? Graystripe mentioned Ashfur was distant after...
ThunderClan, the 15 cats must follow me to the island now. It is time. We are still ThunderClan. We abide by the warrior code, and we won't be defeated.
The fire! That's the only tragedy that could have happened to ThunderClan recently. But that couldn't... That was... I was suddenly reminded of the nightmare I had this morning. Couldn't have been a sign? Did StarClan send it? More importantly, did something happen at that fire that I couldn't see? I tried my best to remember what happened. It was pure chaos. We barely all got out of the camp before the fire reached the hollow. I was in such a panic that day. Still, I can't ignore what my dream sent me. It felt too... real.
Hey, Brambleclaw.
A soft voice broke me out of my dazed thinking once more. It was Thornclaw, Ashfur's litterman.
It's time to move. Don't get left behind. I know it's scary, but we need to do this for Ashfur.
Maybe he's nervous because he actually committed the murder.
You're one to talk, Thornclaw.
Thornclaw? Cloudtail?
You can't just say that. I'm sure Brambleclaw and Thornclaw are doing their best.
I can't think today. ThunderClan is nothing of what it used to be if you have a former kitty pet accusing me out in the open. Brambleclaw, I need to trust you again. Don't fail me.
Huh?
Think about it, Brambleclaw. Who else do you know if that was alone with Ashfur? Thornclaw is the only one, so there is blood on his paws.
Because I discovered the body? You've got to be kidding me, Cloudtail. I know you're deflecting for something. I'm surprised StarClan even called you as a potential murderer. You don't even believe in them. Brambleclaw here could easily be framing me.
While that may be true, you don't exactly have any proof, do you?
And what proof do you have? Brambleclaw, you were the one who sent me forward. You can't exactly blame me for distrusting you. It could have easily been a trap, but I didn't do it. You need to tell everyone that I didn't do it.
That's enough, you two. Think about it for a moment. This is what the culprit wants. They want you to distrust each other. That's what will allow them to sneak on by and get away with this. We need to work together. Thornclaw, I won't accuse you. Not until you give me a reason to. And Cloudtail, I hope you have a good excuse during the trial for where you were. But ThunderClan is innocent until someone comes forward.
I want to agree with you, Brambleclaw. I really do, but Ashfur was my kin. I will make sure that the culprit sees their punishment. A cat like that won't just come forward. A cat like that will hide in the shadows, strike to kill, and slither away. That's the cat we're dealing with. If this cat had even half the heart that Ashfur did, they admit what they did wrong. We shouldn't be doing this.
Brambleclaw, you've got to.
You were on patrol the night before I sent you to look for Ashfur. If anything, Thornclaw, it's almost impossible for you to have committed the murder.
Almost.
Almost.
Be careful of what you say, Cloudtail. Make sure you speak only the truth. Lies will just hide the crime more.
Save the rest of your arguing for when we arrive to the island. This is gonna be a long night. We need to get moving. Brambleclaw, you can do this. I believe in you.
Right. Thank you, Ferncloud. I'm right behind you. I have to try and believe her words. I need to do this. My paws took me forward. The 15 cats and Firestar all began to travel to the Gathering Island. This was it. One of my clanmates who I'd give my life to will be convicted as the murderer of Ashfur. Will I be ready to hear the truth? Will I be able to find the truth? Who can I trust the most? Who was the most suspicious? Can I do this? Can I lead ThunderClan today? This is something I've never thought I'd be able to do. To distrust my clanmates openly. Accuse them. This will rip me apart no matter who the killer is. I just hope they know what they're doing too. No matter what happens at the trial today, ThunderClan will never be the same.